been Master Tech for almost 7 years now.
You know, a lot of people are living in these full-time, a lot of campers full-time, and one of the concerns they have is being able to live in it without it being 4-season or extended season. Like, how much can people get away with in Washington, Oregon, in the low-lying areas?
For Washington, for the Washington area, and that includes, a lot of Oregon also. But you can get away with, we don't get a lot of snow here. When during the seasons where we have snow, then it would be nice to have skirting on it. But other than that, your coach does pretty well just by itself. The bigger thing you need to watch out for is, like with the fifth wheels, it has the furnace. The furnace heats the underbelly to make sure that your pipes don't freeze. So a lot of people just try and run electric heaters. And if you have piping in your underbelly, you got to make sure you run the furnace. Every once in a while, at least keep it up to at least 40 degrees.
Okay, 40 degrees. So they don't have to do skirts, but if they keep the heat on, then that'll...
if you don't have to have skirts. I mean, basically having skirts cuts down on the amount of propane that you're going to end up burning, or the amount of electricity you're going to consume.
Okay.
So it does make it more efficient, because now you're not just like a balloon hanging out in open air and being affected by everything entirely around you. Okay. So you put the skirt underneath it, and now it just makes it toward the sides and the roof, which have the most insulation in them. Are now the only direct contact to the atmosphere.
Yeah. So do you have to have heated tanks, or can you get away with not having?
You really don't need heated tanks in this area. I mean, even when it gets really cold, we get down to like 30. You really don't have to worry about that stuff until it gets like below like 25.
Okay, for an extended period.
For an extended period of time.
Like if
it's just overnight, it's going to drop down to 25. Not a big deal. Don't care. Okay. And the industry standard is 27 degrees. So
27
yeah,
degrees.
so you're looking for 27 degrees, and then you'd have to have a heated hose.
Okay.
And then you want to start looking into making sure that you're heating the underbelly with the furnace.
Okay. So a lot of those full-time people, they're actually going away for the job for the day and coming back. Mm-hmm. How are they going to make sure they're, not going to freeze stuff out? Just keep that heat on?
You just turn it down really low. So, during the day, as long as you don't have pets, of course. But even with pets, you can drop it down, set your furnace to like 60 degrees, and that's 60. More than enough.
More than enough.
Yeah.
50 down to
50. If you can set it to 50, you're fine too. So, really, water doesn't freeze. Water sitting out in the open freezes at 32 degrees or 0, depends upon what you're using. But if it's inside of a container, say like a pipe, or even sitting inside of a water jug or something sitting outside, it's not going to start freezing until it gets to 27 degrees or -2.
If you were to, let's say, full-time, and one of the campers that we have available on our lot, what's one of the campers you'd be more likely to choose for someone at full-time? Let's say that they want a trailer, not a destination. They just want a small, low-profile trailer that's sub, let's say, 5,000-pound dry weight. What camper do you think might be a good option?
Well, given all those options, given all those special items that you listed off, like a smaller trailer, that kind of thing, I would definitely go with like a GeoPro.
You would? And how come?
When our PDI techs go through them and inspect them, everything is built very, very well. It's all their attention to detail is the part that's most the biggest thing for me, because if you have attention to the little details, then you're fine with all the bigger stuff. Mm-hmm. So and that's exactly what we find with the GeoPros. So
what kind of details in there do you look for, or that you're pinpointing in there?
Things that I find real nice is a lot of the wiring is ran in right angles. So it doesn't leave it room to flop around a lot, which cuts down on connection issues. Being I'm more of an electrical kind of guy, so that's kind of the path I go down. But they also put silicone around a lot of the little gaps, which isn't necessary, but it's for aesthetics. It looks very nice, and so a lot of people like that. So as far as the heaters and the furnace, the water heaters, that kind of stuff, those are all kind of industry standards, but GeoPro seems like they're actually going through and testing each one of these devices before they put it into the coach and then just hit the past because they saw the power turn on.
Right. And do you think the siding superior, that Asdel siding, does that really make a difference in terms of insulation and all that?
I don't know. I can't really speak to that one.
Okay. And then one last thing. For when they're full time, you get mice and all that kind of stuff. What kind of things do you recommend people do to not have issues with the mice chewing their wires and doing all kinds of havoc on their camper?
So the best thing that I found, I lived in the fifth wheel for many years and getting ready to start again. But anyways, so you want to look for any holes that are underneath. If it's say like in your water compartment or something like that where the hole needs to be there because you're running a hose through it, take some steel wool and put it around that, and it keeps the animals from coming in because they won't chew through that stuff and they won't pull it out. And then just make sure there's no perforations in your underbelly.
Do those lights at night actually work? You know how some people will put lights on.
They're aesthetically nice looking,
but they don't necessarily.
They make no difference whatsoever.
They don't make any difference.
No difference.
Right. Any last recommendations for those people that are considering full time and never done it before, and they're going to get a smaller camper and just give it a go?
Just do a lot of research on maintenance. Maintenance is the biggest thing that I usually see people, because the camper starts off great, but as time goes on, they're not maintaining this or that, and next thing you know, everything's just going bad. And so it's important to look through the different maintenance things and pay attention to those. One of the biggest ones for me is batteries. Nobody ever checks their batteries for water level so that you can add distilled water only. But so you can add distilled water and keep the batteries running, more than a year. Because if you just let them sit in there and just let them charge under normal circumstances and normal working conditions, it'll slowly boil all the water out of the battery.
Gotcha. So, unless you got a different type, like the higher end.
Yeah, of course. If you step up to an AGM, to a lithium ion or an AGM, then you don't have those problems anymore. And of course, if you go to lithium, you're going to have a battery for 10, 15, 20 years.
Right.
And it's just going to last
totally
forever.
Worth it, right?
Yeah, if you break it down for, over the months, if you break it down to months versus how much it costs, you're way ahead.
Way ahead.
But it's a tough cost up front.
Yep.
But all of them, all the chargers now, all the converters, they all support lithium ion now. So you might as well go there. It's just easier.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.